What's up, music fans? My name's Jackson. Today I'm going to react to 1999 by Joey Bada. Now, Joey is an artist I'm not really that familiar with. I think he's more in with that kind of new style of boom bap type of rapping, which I do enjoy, but it's a genre I'm fairly new to, and I'm excited to become more well versed in, and he's going to be the start of that. This record was actually recommended to me by one of my very close friends, so I appreciate him helping me branch out into this subgenre, and I'm hoping that I really love this record because I love the cover already, and I'm hoping for some nice stylistic choices from Joey here. I won't waste much more time, but if you're new here, if this is the first video you're seeing by me, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed to come on this journey with me where I educate myself on newer hip-hop artists and older ones as well. So give it a like if you enjoy. Let's get into track 1, Summer Nights.
1, 2, show you what this do. It's cause we in them, eyes low squinting, more L's but we winning, acting like it's hard to find women, when I'm in these hard to find linens, remember those down to living, but now we got ends and it's only the beginning, big pivot, pull the dimes, robber for the innocence, cake like in the men's, flow sweet like cinnamon. Here Japan in his hand, they bake him up like he jigging man. Now you see him in the mirror fan. The ones you say you ain't hot, but your biggest fan, like nigga damn. Before he got, so I kept y'all waiting. 1999 till forever, ever, no better.
Oh, okay. Now with the intro there, I was really interested in the kind of wavy little style of it, and then he came in on the back half of the song and dropped a really enjoyable verse. I liked the Jay-Z reference. I love hearing people call him Jigga Man. Apart from that, didn't impress me too much. I mean, it's just an intro. I do like it when artists give, a lot in their intro, but, I'm not going to penalize him for kind of just setting the tone for the album. Track 2 is Waves. I already heard the first 8 seconds of it. I'm pretty sure I've heard this instrumental before, but let's hear it with Joey performing over the beat. Dude, this is like Frank Ocean.
9-5, mama, you're working 9-5. And I know the landlord fed up with our lives. So we pray all we trying to do is do good. Put on my hood when I walk through hoods, cause these niggas these days is local. You get it in your vocals if you ain't the local. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to be a mogul. And I'm hopeful that he's spitting this soulful. Where have me the daily postal, flying coastal, eating tofu. Like I told you, I know niggas who trash rapping. Worried about the any favorite rapper, go ahead, ask him. Who is Joey Bada? Watching grass, ask him. Damn, it's so sad. He pulls the chats up, cause he know he rather back up. That toy make the kid is hotter than mag, motherfucking. Yeah. But it's far from over. What's up till I meet over and my mom is in the rover. Till I'm the owner of the world's finest motors. I'll be like supernovas in your daughter room on the poster.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that instrumental somewhere before, but definitely sounded a lot better in context with the actual song. The elevator music really did a good job setting the tone for the somber kind of feeling that Joey was trying to create there, and he did it very successfully. Obviously, I don't mean elevator music in a bad way at all. I think it actually made the instrumental very interesting, and again, it set the tone very well, and the boom bap beat also just worked in very good contrast with that instrumental. Some of those lyrics were dark. They reminded me of the kind of stuff that Jay-Z would be spitting on his debut album, the kind of stuff about where he grew up and what it would be like when he gets older, because he did release this as a 17-year-old. Track 3 is going to be From the Tombs.
So what it's like, Joey Bada Chuck Strangers.
I've heard that sample before.
It's the red.
Oh!
My man Dirty had the Buddha just to put me in my right mind. I rhyme stone, drop jewels and bright lines, sight down, some slight close eyes, some slice so by. Man, you ain't the go that give it throw so by. After I buy home, fake MCs got they raps wrong.
I swear I've heard that sample before.
And I'm way too blessed to be throwing shots at you. Just remember, homeboy, it ain't no freeway to life. My nigga is gone.
Who is this?
Not the that nigga ain't letting go. And I'm far from religious. I just know right and wrong. I know how to write these songs. I know how to like these songs. I know how to rip songs. And I'm pretty good at being wrong. Nigga, I'm so crazy. Nigga, I'm loco. Gassed up like Sunoco. Press the pedal.
Yeah. You know, before I give my thoughts on that, I think I know where I've heard that kind of like trudging sound from. Let me take a look. Let's see. Deep Pockets by Drake. You're telling me he used the same sample as Joey? Okay, so this man Drake, on the same album, not only bit the same exact beat and sample as Jay-Z from Song Cry on When to Say When Freestyle, but he bit off of Joey Badass on From the Tombs. That's ridiculous. Anyway, what do I think about that song? Very good. That feature by Chuck Strangers was incredible. I loved their intensity on the rapping. I'm also getting so much influence from the older style of rap, especially guys like Jay-Z and Biggie Smalls. I'm hearing a little bit of MF Doom in there as well. That might just be because I've been listening to so much of him lately, but I digress. Track 4 is Survival Tactics, which I've heard is the best song on the album. Let's take a listen. Ooh.
Niggas don't want war, I'm a Martian with an army of Spartans, sparring with a knife in a missile fight. Intelligence is irrelevant, but it's definite. I spit more than speech impediments. Brooklyn's the residence, the best, and it's evident. We got them niggas PE nuts like they elephants. Peso, y'all collect pesos, y'all money ain't right here. I got them girls next to the wood like they like it. I'm right here, trying to get a bug, trying to pollinate. Steve's got that presidential shit, time to inaugurate my PE conglomerates. About to go, just ain't safe. The only thing that I can say to you is pray. Cause when niggas start equipping and throw the clip in, your blood dripping and catch you slipping under the victim, don't know what's hit them through his spinal. Just another man who defeated by survival. That's your biggest fight in your whole life. These bars you can't handle, you better hold tight. They saying I'm the best. Wiping out motherboards, start spitting fire cause my motherfucking lung is scorched. King Arthur when he swung his sword. Or King Arthur, I ain't even use a pen in like a month before. I had a hard time writing lyrics, now I'm way overhead. Science fiction, you can lead. I guess Columbine was listening and Shaka Khan and Pokemon wasn't getting recognized at Comic-Con. It's like we've been content with losing,
Pokemon?
and now our students falling victim to the internet.
Wow. So the first thing I want to say is just consider the fact that that is the fourth song I've heard by him, and his flow already, I'm so used to his cadence that it gets me moving like that. That should just be proof of how good and talented this guy is, and I'm willing to give him that credit already just because of how I'm getting involved with the music. Just another song where it's like, yeah, his flow is intense and he sounds like he's having fun performing the song, but the lyrics are incredibly somber and dark. And I say this a lot, but it's hard for someone like me to hear that stuff because I honestly just can't relate. I've been privileged my whole life. And that's why I love hip hop so much. The gunshots that end off the verses are incredible. They add that again, feeling and tone that Joey is going for here. It really sounds like this guy, and he's 17, keep in mind. His body and mind is young, but his soul just feels so old because of how not only woke he is, but just the subject matter of these songs. He's not talking about what most kids would be at 17. Track 5 is Killuminati. I've definitely heard this one before, so you know what time it is.
I'm a beast with these flows, two birds, one stone, you get geese with trees roll. They say I'm evil cause I train my ego to see gold. See no seagulls, gonna see these goals, please. Clap, that ain't real spitters, y'all lips chat. You better watch, Mr. Nice Watch, don't risk that. I got a six-pack of beer skill that I spill like that. And everybody knows that shit. Y'all niggas so smoky, down below choking. If you can, ironic how I'm killing this shit. Until they bury me, my value is going in depth with longevity.
Still one of my favorite songs that I've heard. Capital C's with that performance along with Survival Tactics. I don't know who this guy is, but I need to hear more from him. Another great song. The really earnest kind of instrumental that goes with the, again, boom bap beat is incredible. It feels like kind of clumsy of a beat in a way. It reminds me kind of Kanye West's Last Call off of the College Dropout. It seems kind of juvenile production-wise, yet at the same time, it's so complex in the way that it loops over itself and kind of evolves throughout the song. The two birds, one stone bar is incredible. There's a couple more that also get your head scratching, and then you kind of realize, and you gain even more respect for this guy because you realize that his lyrics are fairly dense for a record that came out so recently. Track 6 is Hard to Knock. Ooh.
Check. The glare signs, the sympathy. Only thing plain is the man violence. No lying, niggas just won't let go, they iron. They want to burn your molecules until you let go iron. Too much pressure, God bless you when they send me wet ya. They told me more dress up, I'm giving too many lectures. And they are trying to have a wife and kids, so I just can't live my life like this. And I ain't trying to know what life this is, so I just can't live my life like this. I want the heart is so pure. Gotta be brave, can't be afraid. Braids and waves never matter when you catch the fade. Trapped in the maze, and your fate is your only escape. Fuck a police opinion, not the hinges off of heaven's gates. Trying to share my cells with my mate, not share a cell with mates. Reckless shit with my recklessness. For school, learning what to do it. I'm out for presidents to represent me. No chicky messaging me. Who the
Another
message
Jay-Z reference.
me? Too hot, I be molesting the beat. Smoking on the clematis, get open like a precedence. Now your presence is on the premises for them precedents. Rhapsody be the genesis for what they think the terror is. They linking terrorists from the start. They linking terrorists, stay on that record.
I think one thing that's really impressed me about this guy so far is just the fact that he really owns every beat and every song that he's on. You get this sense of authority and confidence from him because he knows that he is performing well and that his raps are entertaining. And it makes it a lot better for the listener to hear that as opposed to someone who's kind of just rapping and hoping you'll like it. That entire song just felt like homage to Jay-Z. Everything was a reference to him, and the beat sounded like something that would have been off of Reasonable Doubt or The Blueprint. And he rapped with that kind of style and, again, confidence that Jay-Z would have. Haven't heard a skippable song yet. We're going to World Domination.
Try to take over the world.
Hey yo, who the fuck passed you the mic and said that you could flow? Puffin' on stramonium, underground like potholes, but open fly soul. These bars like garden that's been sold me, and these roaches for custodians. But I've been smoking chemtrails, so lately I've been having hard times with remembering to be patient. My studies prove Egyptians ain't shit, cause I believe that we could be like Neo in the Matrix. But static and my somatic anatomy, and come out imputed with futures and blueprints and illmatics. I've been going raw, this is how I feel rapping. We get y'all certain tactics, so y'all
This guy has mastered flow, man.
prepared, but still attacking the masses. Y'all better get your asses, cause you tuned into my station. Always got the doobie in the motherfucking nation. Always got the trees. So what the fuck you mean I ain't about to rise to the top with my fucking team? Hey yo, who the fuck passed you the mic?
Yeah, man, that song definitely really felt more like what you would hear in a Kanye West album, maybe, but also, I know I keep saying it, but Jay-Z. The Brooklyn's Finest vibes on that song were incredible. The way that you open up with somebody else kind of giving a sample, the kind of Western feel. It's almost as if you're in one of those pubs in those kind of like desert area with all the cowboys. That's the world it puts me in. And I love when songs can create that kind of imagery for you. The lyrics on the song weren't as dark as a lot of the other ones that I've heard so far, but I have no problem with that. It's okay to kind of take a break from that subject matter to just create a purely enjoyable song. I'm a huge fan of that one. It might be my favorite so far, actually. This sounds so MF Doom to me.
A lot of niggas think, could it sit the type like, oh, it was like too tight. Come on, I would have fight, but our schedules contradicted. Well, it's tied down. They pipe down. The first night you born, they pipe down. Took off the night down and we got the spank. She screamed till we spank. And after that, she even think, slang. I ain't gon' fun a nigga do me slip on. Now she sent the next nigga dick off and my dick suck.
Ooh.
She told me what I promised that I wouldn't get emotional, and I'm not, so stop it. Why you front like you don't miss my whole cockpit down your wasabi kiss? I swear, can't imagine you did not even care. Whole thing played out like magic and it's kinda weird. This is like I did a trick and you only get paired. It ain't fair. I couldn't see it coming down my eyes, so I had to make the song cry. I couldn't see it coming down my eyes.
Everything is Jay-Z.
Coming down my eyes, so I had to make the song cry.
Continuing the themes of the whole young face, old soul persona that Joey is giving to us here. He's preserving the integrity of what older hip hop is, but he's making it sound a bit more modern. I like how the spoken word kind of style of his delivery there made the song feel like it's a kid performing it, but they have such wisdom because of the difficult life they've had. The title of the track, Pennyroyal, really tells you what you're going to be hearing here. And again, another song that I just can't say anything bad about, really. Track 9 is Funky Hose.
I fuck that word. No finesse. But tell the funky who I love her. These bras be trying to get the brother caught up in a sticky situation. Misadministration, cycle. They all psycho. You know what this like. He won't have it, it exploded twice. But fuck a bad bitch. I do this rap shit and put it over life on the coldest night. Sunshine like a solar strike. Took the value. All up in the cut, no alcohol. Just
That like kind of like, I don't know, sound bite in the background, a little sample.
Ugly niggas desi. Yeah, they don't even know what it's yeah.
I think the biggest appeal to me on that song was the use of instruments and the whole composition of it. I really liked the little bass line in the background and then the drum thumping loop that kind of alternated with each other. That created a nice little beat that turned into a really nice kind of tone setter. I also thought the little like kind of really distorted, was that like screaming or talking? I don't know what it was, but it was really in the very back of your ears and it again, set a nice tone. The subject matter, I don't really care for. Him talking to us about how he has sex with a bunch of weird girls doesn't really appeal to me, but it's the only song so far where I think the subject matter has gotten anywhere near corny, so I'm not going to complain about that just yet. Track 10 is Daily Routine.
From the block to the top, Buddha back, he's in the sock. Only thing that changed now is we ain't running out of stock. You sponsoring the tape, they launching out sprays. I'm trying not to get sprayed, whether it's spitter or a quitter behind the trigger, approaching his prey. His eyes bigger, won't stop to consider what's right or wrong. For ice cream when the lights beam, but that's just daily routine. The streets are cool fiends, whether the hoops or
Daily
the
routine, man.
Choose the right scheme, cause you could think you cool with your nice things, but get wiped clean for ice cream when the lights beam. Traded in my nights for
Yeah.
I guess it's streams hit the booth and the boost my esteem. The pro ever crew recruiting in them fiends by the boatload. Nigga caught a wave and now he surfing coastal. They don't feel the name, but they say the music dope though. Fuck it, that's how it's supposed to go. These bloggers too emotional. But that's just daily routine. The streets are cool fiends, whether the
I
hoops or
love
the
this
hoop,
hook.
niggas shoot.
The concept of that song was just such a high level of thinking, but very heartbreaking at the same time. This is the stuff that happens here. Yeah, it might sound dark to you, but to us, it's just daily routine. The way the beat kind of went shh. I know that was a very good sound effect, but you know what I mean. The way it did that really built up nicely to every time the instrumental would loop over itself, and it kind of put more emphasis on the actual end of his lyrics, which kind of allowed Joey to change up his flow and put more emphasis on some of the things he wanted to say. He also had some really nice one-liners there. I liked the one about him wanting to see the top instead of laying where he's at. Very interesting kind of idea there. And then more talking about, death and hard things that happen when, you grow up in the environment that Joey did. You look at the album cover and these songs really sound like they go with that setting. Track 11 is Snakes.
Sometimes I feel alienated because I'm not up in the stadium playing or on the radio saying go drop, but I got nothing to say to them because I've been slacking the skill. Although my passion is real, I'm too caught up catching the feel when I should be cashing the meal. There's something about me being younger that affected my hunger. Got older and number, realize I can't count on these hundreds to determine my elation. Pursue the happiness, I keep paces. Ain't fear races,
Love
they just
that.
let the fear erases. Adopted by the slum, son of cars. This is how that we gotta wake up. Cause they always be behind in the cut. Always in the skies, watching stars when they up. So don't you confide into the evil and corrupt. Don't you confide into the evil and corrupt. This is urgent. Got a whole bunch of shit up vocal water like I knew balance, just like a relative. Marijuana said it is. Got me thinking I should put a bomb right with the senators. Cause they corrupting the
Ooh.
youth, we ain't deducting the truth.
I think that might have been my favorite track so far. That was really hypnotic in a way. I had a hard time paying attention to the production because Joey's bars were so enthralling, but thinking about it a little bit more, I don't know what precisely the instrumental was, but it sounded a bit like a drawn out kind of keys sample. And then, again, just a nice little drum line in the background that doesn't let up and it keeps your mind entertained the entire time. And Joey's flow, this whole album has been so sick. He just doesn't let up, but it's not like he's spazzing. It's kind of just him going and letting his mind freely speak. Was that Tina Apex, you pronounce it, on the feature? That hook was incredible. I loved how the kind of background vocals sounded angelic in a way, and her, again, really somber bars did a great job rounding out Joey's verses. Track 12 was Don't Front, CJ Fly making another appearance.
It was the word. It all started with the special hers. Then after that it came the sexual words. Not me and Shorty in a perpetual verse. She play body and so what the fuck is love at its first sight? If you ask me, another stupid analogy. Makes a couple flaws in the female anatomy.
Wow.
I keep gradually, I live to touch. But now I really even see it in everybody's hood. Not even the law enforcement can keep up. She didn't want no one to know, so I kept it on the low. Anytime that we would kick it, I made sure I had some toe. Could have been a high topic because I swore we were a match in. I admit it, girl, you find a sound. Don't know your perfume, but you exert to find the smell. You're trying to find it and follow a trail. Don't run.
Another super enjoyable track, another song about girls, but a bit more organic this time, which I appreciated. CJ Fly makes another really good appearance, and the wordplay on that song specifically really impressed me. I love that bar about Bonnie and Clyde as a kind of reference to Bonnie and Clyde. And the hook, super atmospheric, super kind of vibey, really did a great job. I have enjoyed a lot of the choruses that have kind of been at the forefront of some of these songs. Track 13, Righteous Minds.
I never knew the world could be this mad. Only vision I had of sex was color me bad. And I meant watch the call me. Down the Austin, she said that office, morphin' to abortions without proportion. Follow what I be with it, so many wanna be Jordan. In the White House, supplying White Out on Jim Crow laws, you probably missed it. Hard to be persistent. When nigga might just leave you lifeless for prices. High-tech devices, a quick detect now to meet your price. Person, man, nervous, you surrender disturbing. With some Mary Jane, the only thing is you do it again. It ain't easy living life like this. When you trying to be righteous, but no one nigga might just leave you this for prices. High-tech devices, a quick detect now to meet your price.
Caught another Mary Jane line in there. I now know that that is a lot of times referencing weed. Thank you to who commented that in my That's That reaction. His opening bars there really struck me. A lot about being in a coffin, I remember. Don't remember the first one, but the opening bar especially really caught my eye. Or ear, rather. I like the little chimes on the hook, kind of reminded me of the imagery of something like a preschooler playing with a musical instrument in, like toddler school or something, which continues these themes of, hey, I'm a young kid, but I have such experience in the world and I'm so woke. Again, I love that mood. Righteous Minds is probably one of my favorite songs. We're going to get on to Where It's At with Kirk Knight. Ooh.
Let's get down tonight. I think I might blow a whole pound tonight. So shorty hit me with the spot, and if it sound alright, move to the hop in and put it back in drove and hit it out park like our pool hole. So tell me where it's at, and I'm in that spot. I said, so tell me where it's at, and I'm in that spot. I said, so tell me where.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that one in the future, probably. I've said this before, but a lot of these songs are hypnotic in the way that Joey's flow is so entrancing that you're not always paying attention to everything in general, but more so how he's saying his lyrics and kind of how nice it sounds. It can make it kind of hard to grasp onto the overall theme or concepts of the song, which is something I appreciate from albums like this because it adds replay value. You can go back and think, wow, I didn't hear that the first couple of times I heard the record. Last track is Third Eye Stuff. It's 11 minutes long, so let's get into it.
Suspect niggas don't come outside. You might get your way pushed back tonight. Me in the Matrix, it ain't shit. They just call it a strange shift. Cold feet, cause I'm on thin ice, it's alright. Let them hate. Stay calm and meditate. When life has the lemons, it's time to eliminate. More sour with a lemonade, anyways. Different than get it. Now these niggas see me getting it. Check the statements on my debit. My profile get requested, but I never hit accept. Hit the sideward to the check. Still, so tell me if you live again, the fire in his heart still seems to be simmering. I take that little simmer and turn it to an adrenaline penicillin. Cannot stop the truth and scheme. Another apex predator crushing your dreams. Gonna get your way pushed back between my cream. Taking all you sus niggas, throw you out the scene. I'm taking all you bags and on some third eye shit.
Well, that was 1999. You know, that last song, it feels like a group of high school kids and you're going around their lunch table and they're giving their testimony of sorts of what it was like to grow up in their hood. And all of the stories are uncomfortable to listen to because you're like, man, this is normal life for these people. I love the theme that Joey created here. It goes with that album cover. You just see two kids skating down the street, but that picture says so much when you know the subject matter of these songs. But my favorite part about the whole theme and concept is that he does it in such a subtle way. He's not making it obvious or forcing it on the listener. You have to figure it out for yourself, and once you do, it adds a lot of depth to the songs you're listening to. That was probably my favorite thing about this album was just the scope and themes that are presented in it, but the production also, like I said, is hypnotic. His flows are creative. They're not getting old to me at this point, and I just heard him for 15 songs in a row. I also think his wordplay, his subject matter, doesn't really ever get corny. He finds ways to make it creative. And again, in an hour-long runtime, is pretty impressive for a 17-year-old kid. I really enjoyed this record. My favorite songs are going to be, let's say, Killuminati, Survival Tactics, Daily Routine, Snakes, and I'll go with Righteous Minds. Hey, that's going to do it for my reaction and review on Joey Bada 1999. If you enjoyed my analysis on this record, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and come with me on this journey to make myself more well-versed in the hip-hop community, and also give the video a like. It really motivates me to see anybody hit that red button or that thumbs up. Let me know what your favorite album is in the comments. I'll react to it. And what's your favorite song from this album? Again, let me know. That's going to be all. Thanks for joining me. I sincerely hope you'll join me next time, and happy listening.